Is your country's staple food rice? According to statistics from the Food and Agriculture Organization in 2021, global rice production reached 497.3 million tons, feeding more than 3 billion people. China is the largest rice producer, accounting for nearly 50% of world production, and India is the world's largest rice exporter. Today, we will travel to the top rice countries to learn how farmers and producers bring rice from the fields to your tables. Before we start, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel so we can make more educational videos. The journey of rice starts with land preparation, typically lasting between 15 to 20 days. Farmers use this plowing truck to do a thorough tillage 2 to 3 times, ensuring the soil is loosened, aerated, and free of weeds. 10 to 15 tons of well-decomposed organic manure per hectare are added beforehand. If the soil is too acidic, 500 to 1,000 kilograms of lime powder are also applied. The depth of tillage ranges between 15 to 20 centimeters. A smooth and level surface is essential for efficient water management and uniform crop growth. But fields in mountainous regions aren't flat. They are constructed like this to adapt to the terrain. This is a terrace rice field in northern Vietnam. Isn't it unique and beautiful? Rice is a water-intensive crop, requiring an average of 2,500 liters of water per kilogram of rice produced. Therefore, an efficient irrigation system is essential. This may involve canals, ditches, or pumps to ensure adequate and timely water supply throughout the growing season. Farmers carefully select varieties that are well suited to their specific region and growing practices. To ensure the viability of the seeds, a germination test is conducted. Once a small batch passes, the incubation process begins. First, the seeds are thoroughly rinsed in a 15% salt solution and then soaked in warm water for 1 to 3 days to initiate germination. The soaked seeds are incubated for half a day to a day, allowing the seeds to sprout to about 0.5 and 1.0 millimeters. The ideal sowing density varies depending on the sowing method. For broadcast sowing, where seeds are scattered evenly across the prepared field, a density of 120 kilograms of seeds per hectare is recommended. When using a row seeder to sow seeds in straight lines, a slightly lower density of 100 kilograms of seeds per hectare is sufficient. The timing of rice sowing is carefully tailored to the specific climatic conditions and rice varieties cultivated in each region. For example, northern Vietnam has 2 distinct rice seasons per year. Sowing typically occurs in spring and autumn. Southern Vietnam has 3 sowing seasons because of the warmer climate. In 2023, Vietnam's rice exports reached an impressive 8.13 million tons, valued at $467 billion. As rice seedlings take root, farmers carefully follow a structured fertilization schedule tailoring to the specific growth stage. During the early growth stage, nitrogen-rich fertilizers are needed, and during the maturity stage, potassium-rich fertilizers are prioritized. As the rice plants grow taller and foliage expands, the water level is gradually increased to 3 to 5 centimeters. Many Asian countries apply rice cultivation combined with aquaculture to increase land and water use efficiency. With approximately 9 million hectares dedicated to rice cultivation, Thailand is a major rice producer and exporter. Large fields here use drones to spray pesticides. In the first quarter of 2024, Thailand exported 2.46 million tons of rice, solidifying its position as the second largest rice exporter globally with its world-renowned Hom Mali variety. To meet export standards, pesticide residues in finished rice must be a maximum of 0.0 mmWg. approximately 7 or 10 days before harvest, when the rice grains have fully matured and turned golden yellow. The paddies are drained to allow the soil to dry slightly, facilitating easier harvesting and reducing grain losses. It usually takes anywhere from 100 to 150 days to harvest rice after sowing. Utilizing combine harvesters, a farmer can cover over 3,000 square meters per hour. Most rice varieties are harvested on a dry, sunny day when approximately 90 to 95% of the grains have turned golden yellow. This is to avoid molds forming on rice. In smaller fields or areas with limited access, manual harvesting using sickles or other tools remains a traditional practice. For glutinous rice varieties, harvesting commences when over 87% of the grains have matured. Regardless of the harvesting method employed, rice stalks are cut close to the base to prevent grains from being shattered or damaged. The global average rice yield is estimated to range between 4 and 7 tons per hectare. Harvested rice is bundled into manageable sheaves and transported to designated drying areas. Among the top rice-producing nations, China stands out with an average yield of 7.5 tons per hectare, with some regions achieving yields of 10-12 tons per hectare. Vietnam also has a high rice yield, about 5.2 tons per hectare. In the Mekong Delta region, yields can reach 6 to 7 tons per hectare. Harvested rice must be dried within 2 days of harvest to minimize moisture accumulation and potential mold growth. In regions with unpredictable weather patterns or during the rainy season, mechanized rice dryers are used. The drying process is typically divided into 3 stages, spanning 2 to 5 days in both natural and machine drying. First is husk hardening. Rice is spread out in a thick layer, about 10-12 centimeters or thicker, and regularly turned to ensure even drying. Then the rice layer is thinned. Farmers let it dry slowly until it reaches a moisture content of approximately 13% to prevent cracking during subsequent milling. Farmers often test the dryness by listening to the sound when biting or breaking a grain. If dried thoroughly, rice can be preserved for over 3 months without significant loss of quality. The storage area should be dry, well ventilated, and protected from direct sunlight, excessive humidity, and pests. Next, the outer husks are removed to expose the edible grain inside. A typical rice mill can process up to 60 tons of grains daily. In parallel with this process, specialized sifting machines are used to remove the husks and stones. At this stage, rice is still lightly yellow, so rice is then polished to achieve the desired level of whiteness consumers love. These machines can process up to 8 to 10 tons of rice per hour. Polishing rice is simply passing the bran-bearing rice grains through a water sprayer. The machine then dries each grain of rice, ensuring that the rice is shiny but completely dry. When rice is polished, the storage time of rice is extended from half a year to a year, but the rice smell will be less fragrant. Rice is typically packaged in quantities ranging from 1 kilogram to 20 kilograms, catering to both household and commercial use. For smaller packages, such as 1 kilogram or 5 kilograms, vacuum sealing is often employed to extend shelf life and preserve freshness. Among the world's rice treasures, Vietnam's ST24 and ST25 varieties have earned the coveted title of World's Best Rice at the 2023 International Rice Conference. The Mekong Delta in southern Vietnam is the heart of Vietnam's rice production because it carries rich alluvial deposits that nourish the soil. This natural fertilization contributes to 95% of Vietnam's rice export production. However, the recently proposed Funan-Teco Canal, a joint project between China and Cambodia, could disrupt the natural flow of sediments from the Mekong River, leading to a potential decline in the nutrient-rich alluvial deposits that sustain rice cultivation in the Mekong Delta. What do you think about this? Please comment below and let me know. And that's the story of one of Asia's staple food. What other topics would you like to learn more about?